rocks are beautiful, majestic, like you might find in a place like this.
So, where were we? The mermen. Yeah, the thing about mermen is they're of something of the dark wilderness of the deep sea.
But then, of course, another thing caught her attention, which would catch any mermaid's attention. The scent of flowers coming in off over the hills. And he says, "Don't be alarmed, dear." Of course, right away, hearing a man's voice, and she with no clothes on.
"There is something you can do for me." And she starts to get a little worried. What is he going to say?
Welcome back to the channel. Look at this ocean. Would you just look at this? Can you believe in all this? There would be mermaids. I think I've found some more. Now, this is a story. It's called The Old Man of Curry. And it follows a priestly man, a man who's part of a parish. And one day he's walking along the shore and he finds a spot to meditate. And he starts to look around. The rocks are beautiful, majestic, like you might find in a place like this. But upon one of them, he sees something very odd. In all his life, and he's an old man, he's never gotten to see a mermaid. He sees a woman on a rock. He would think she's unclothed, but she has so much flowing long hair that it's covering most of her. He can't tell. So he comes in for a closer look. As she's combing her long flowing tresses, she hears the whisper of this intruder. And he says, "Don't be alarmed, dear." Of course, right away, hearing a man's voice, and she with no clothes on, feels very alarmed, and she slips into the water. He believes she may have drowned, unless she is a mermaid. So he inches over to the rock as quick as he can. Over the edge he looks. She seems to be completely fine in that respect, but she looks a little distressed, and right away he can tell it has to do with him. And she tells him to please go away. Now, he's a kind man, he's got a heart, but like I said before, he's up there in years, he's in the twilight of his life, and he says, "Well, please, my dear, there's so much that I have seen in my life, and I've never seen a mermaid. I've never seen any woman as beautiful as you. Would you please, just for pity's sake, would you have the patience, the consideration, the warmth in your heart to just do me one favor and to tell me just a little bit about you, about your kind? There's so much I want to know." And he keeps talking this way, and she finds it kind of soothing. Again, he's a priestly man. He is used to talking to people and calming the senses. And so she decides to tell him a little bit about her. This mermaid actually has a family. She has a beautiful merman husband, or I should say a handsome merman husband. She has 2 or 3 children with him. And the family had discovered this wonderful land where she's talking to the old man. And they thought it would be fun to swim, splash around, sun themselves, have some family time on the beach, a beach day. But, of course, as tends to happen, all that time in the sun, and certainly the merman husband is playing with the kids a lot, roughhousing, everyone's getting tired. And he suggests they sleep in the nearby cave. And he was more tired than she was, so he just passed out. She felt a little inclined to wander, play with the kids a little more. And they enjoyed playing on the shore. She was laughing, watching them splash, and they were laughing. It was good fun. But then, of course, another thing caught her attention, which would catch any mermaid's attention. the scent of flowers coming in off over the hills. And she gradually was lured away to go and experience these plants that give off these amazing scents. And of course she wound up losing track of the day, as does happen to a mermaid. Well, it wasn't long before she came to a wonderful reflecting pond that the tide had made, and she got to see her reflection. This is actually kind of rare for a mermaid, unless they happen to have a little mirror with them. There aren't too many places within the ocean that a mermaid gets to see her own beauty. As we all know, they have it in spades, where she gets to see what her merman husband sees, or many a love-struck sailor. So naturally, she feels this is certainly worth her time. She gets to see this beauty that God has given her. And as she is absorbed in this sight, this wonderful sight, she realizes the placement of the sun, and she sees the time. She realizes how much she's lost track of time. And she begins to panic. She stops telling the story to the old man, and she breaks down crying. And the man listens. He sees her tears, and he says, "Why are you crying, sweetheart? I'm sure that he's going to be looking for you, and you'll be looking for him, and if there's anything I can do, I'll help you find him." And at this point, she's really come to trust him. She realizes he is no more harmful than her great-great-grandfather was. She says, "No, you don't understand. Mermen are a different breed." The thing about mermen is they have a very savage quality.
Oy, quite a wind. I've had other winds, but I kind of like the atmosphere that they give with the breath of the ocean and all of that. But this was unworkable. I'm sure you agree, and hopefully you're relieved to see that I'm here in a bit more of a tame ether, and I'm going to be telling the story here as well, maybe mostly. So where were we? The mermen. Yeah, the thing about mermen is they're of something of the dark wilderness of the deep sea. So that comes with darkness, and they've got these sides that, even though they've got these other sides that a mermaid may be attracted to them and want to have her young with them, she has really got to get back to him before he wakes up. He's liable to get suspicious. He's going to get wild and animalistic. He's going to assume that she was with another merman or something. And he has certainly reasons. I mean, mermaids, they are seductive creatures. But still, little intense that as soon as he wakes up, she's not there. He's going to make these assumptions. What else? Well, he is liable to kind of carry on without her, which is an interesting thing if you think of merfolk. It's kind of that fairy tale we all envision of a relationship where both partners are truly free, truly independent. Well, nothing really comes of that. That usually just that ends. And this is kind of what happens when you have two free spirits, like a merman and a mermaid. And he's liable to just kind of carry on without her, take the kids and go off. And how is she going to find them in the vast ocean? She might. Will he take her back? Will he forgive her? Mermaids, particularly the stories where a man takes a mermaid for his wife, many times the mermaid turns out to be better at the house duties than most women do. The women want to learn from her those things so they can make exceptional lives on top of being these renowned free spirits. So that's a thing. He might just disappear and not really look for her. And the other thing is that if he's hungry and there's no food, he may turn ravenous and cannibalize the children. Yeah, So the stakes are kind of high now. So she's in tears. She's just overwhelmed. She doesn't know what to do. And she realizes that the only way to get there in time would not be to swim around the shore. It would be to go over the hills and, possibly scale a small mountain, and just kind of impossible stuff for her. I guess you could say this is the kind of mermaid that maybe doesn't have legs when she's on the shore or something. Or maybe it's just that she doesn't know the terrain. Anyway, the old man, the kind old man, the pious man, listens to her, and he starts to figure out what the route is, and he's pretty sure, and he impresses upon her that he's pretty sure he knows what it is. And she says, "Oh, could you take me there, please? I would do anything. I would give you anything you desire. You would be a very rich man. I can basically generate the kind of wealth you want." And he says, No, I don't want gold or silver, but there is something you can do for me. And she starts to get a little worried. What is he going to say? And he says, "I want to learn the best ways to help my neighbors." And at first she's like, "Wait, what? Are you serious?" And he says, "And I want to learn how to break the spells of witchcraft that fall upon man or beast." She's like, "Oh, I think this pious man thing is actually real. Wow." And he says, "And one more thing. I want to be able to find stolen property, and I want to reveal the thieves to the victims." And she says, "I can do all of this. Please, if you get me there, it's a deal, and I promise you will have these things." And he says, "All right, well, come close to me, and I want you to put your arms around my neck, and I'm going to carry you the whole way." And back in those days, an old man has been doing a lot of field work. They're not doing computer work, or they're not working for Amazon or something in a high up apartment, or it's not the time where people are just not in shape. It's like everybody is doing work. So even though he's old, he can basically carry this mermaid and get her there. And it takes a few hours. He has to stop and he has to rest, and all the while there's no telling what's going to happen. And as they're getting closer, she's listening for those screams of the children being attacked or something. But nothing. And they get there, and the children are sunning themselves on the shore. They're asleep, and the merman is fast asleep still. Thank goodness. And her husband's going to wake up, and everything's going to be fine, as though she never left. And she says, how can I ever thank you? But yes, I can repay you on this, And she produces from her hair this little pearl comb. It's the most beautiful comb he's ever seen. And she gives it to him. And she says, "There's a rock over," she gives him the coordinates for it. "And you can't miss it. And what I want you to do is I want you to go to that rock when the sun is setting, and I want you to comb the ocean. Just comb the top of the ocean. And I will come and meet you. And I'm going to teach you the things you asked for." And sure enough, a few days later, he finds that rock. It's just as she said. And he gets down onto it, and the water is just so tranquil and beautiful at that time. And he takes that comb and he starts combing the water. He feels strange at first, but then he starts to hear this beautiful sound, like it's a singing, and the water starts to churn. And then before he knows it, she's talking to him from behind, and he turns around all startled, and she's there, and she's beaming. She's so happy. She's so touched at just the man he is and proved to be. There's not many like that. And she willingly, gladly teaches these wonderful gifts. And they are gifts that he gives to his fellow neighbors. He helps them in so many ways that he can, and word gets around. People come to him with all kinds of sorrow, and he's able to comfort them and tell them these things that a priest should be able to do. But because he's got the wisdom of the mermaid of the sea and the sea world, he's able to reach people in this deep, profound way. And he's able to heal the afflicted who fall under the spell of various witchcraft, all kinds of things, insomnia or a broken heart or not being able to get over somebody, you name it. And she even teaches him how to prepare a bowl of water so that when he goes to someone who has been robbed, the face of the thief will appear to them. And this totally revolutionizes the crime committed in the region. He lives the rest of his days where he first started wanting to know what a mermaid is, what they're about, and, never getting to see one. And then he starts to learn all the wisdom from the merfolk. It's a different world, the merfolk, mermen, hello. And that's, I think, what's interesting about this story is a lot of the mermaid stories tend to be cautionary tales toward men with a bit of pride, and here is a man of God, who comes to this mermaid not from pride, not from judging, not from lust, from humility, and he wants to learn. And he is able to take this device, which would be a perfect vehicle for temptation, and he goes, well, what can I get out of it that would make the world a better place? He asks the right questions. And in the end, all the smiles of the healed people that he's helped are much more important than any kind of quick fix that he could have gotten. So I think it's a very unique and special tale, The Old Man of Curry. And also, I really want to point out, because this is a beautiful book. It's by HEIDI ANNE HEINER. It's called Mermaid, and it has all these fantastic, comprehensive stories from all over the world. And I absolutely love dipping into this, and I always get wonderful inspirations. But this year, I'm actually sharing various stories from this book and other places. But I really wanted to highlight this beauty. It's just fantastic, and I can't sing the praises enough. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this, and of course, I hope you're enjoying the art. It keeps evolving, and if maybe anything catches your fancy, I just want you to know you could treat this channel or the website like it's a little gallery show, maybe in your own little cyberspace coffee shop or something. And maybe there's something on there you go, I'd like to have that on my wall. Or, boy, I really love that story, or I'm touched by it, or it's personal, and I would love to have that visual representation. So sometimes that might be an original piece of art. Sometimes it might be a painting. It might be some of my Ghost in the Gaslight merch. I don't know, what have you. But just wanted to give a shout. Feel free to check that out. There's links in the description. And if you enjoyed this, well, maybe you'll enjoy this one.